Hello, this video is about very exciting project. I would actually call it a hidden gem. I think I'm dealing with the crypto for some time, and one of the most, I would say, annoying thing about the crypto world, there's a multiple blockchains. Your capital is spread across multiple blockchains. There's projects you need to jump around and so on. Anyone who uses the swaps, the bridges and all other things, I'm sure you will find it very annoying. So I was very intrigued and very interested when I learned about the project that Faraj is involved, and Faraj is actually CBDO of the project. And I would like Faraj to give a brief introduction what the project is about, and then we just go through a few questions.
Thanks, Rafik. EYWA is a cross-chain data and liquidity protocol. So what in an easy way of saying that, it's basically a decentralized ecosystem of the bridges that would connect data and liquidity to different chains and in between different connected protocols. So we currently would support 8 EVM compatible blockchains with Solana, Near and Algorand to come after that, and other EVM chains to come after that as well. This means that the liquidity can be transferred between those chains, and as well as data can be transferred between those chains. So what means data is any calls. So for example, the smart contract in Solana can call for smart contract in Ethereum to action. So you can lock Sol in Solana and at the same time borrow, for example, ETH on Ethereum. So there are a few, they call it killer features of this project. One is that it actually solves one of the main problems of current DeFi ecosystem is liquidity fragmentation. What it means is that every project that is listed on the multiple chains, he has to have their liquidity split between those chains, and this will basically reduces it increases the volatility of the token on the chain because there is less liquidity. It also increases the slippages during the swaps. It is way more easier to have only one liquidity pool in one chain, and all other stable coins from all other assets could just be used to buy your token on that chain. So that's what we allow.
So I think, if I can just interrupt, right? I think is that I think it's very important for people to understand, and we will try in this video, because this video is probably the most technical video we've done so far. We will have a link to the terms that we're using, things like, and we will have links to the concept like bridges, concepts like liquidity, automatic market making, right? For example, right? So I think is that what you just said so far is, for example, if I have a project, it's on one network. At the moment, my liquidity is split between different projects, and let's say if it's automatic market making, volatility. So for example, it's really bad for the project. It's also really bad for the investors into the project, right? Because as they trade, the slippage can be sometimes several percent. If it will be, let's talk about like normal people. Think about if you, let's say you trade in many countries, right? And you have to open bank account in each country. Imagine you would have, which you can do, for example, with the company, with the bank like HSBC, you can have one bank account where you can easily move the cash as required from one country to another, right? Real time, right? But I think what I haven't seen before, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what I think is the unique feature of this project, it's not only consolidation of liquidity, but also consolidation of data. So I think this project makes things much easier for developers. So once they develop something, they need to develop it on one blockchain where they're more familiar with, for example, with the, let's say, for example, if developers are more familiar with Solidity rather than with Rust, they will develop their project in Solidity on EVM, but it will automatically work on other pools, on other chains. Is that the correct statement?
Correct. So I think like we will be connecting Rust blockchains later on.
Yep.
So what smart contracts can do on the Solidity, and they will be send a call to the, for example, let's say Solana smart contract, and Solana smart contract will act for action in Solana based on the requirement that you send that smart contract to do. So we are a transport layer for data, so in a decentralized way. So we will have our own role depose consensus to make sure that this actually has happened. So we will be listening to all the chains and we'll have smart contracts in all of them. And that's where we will be making sure that the transaction has happened and that someone has actually sent money or information, call, or some data to us to be transferred to another smart contract in another chain. So that the fact itself is the finality of that, and will be confirmed by our own oracles. That's a big thing about the project, that it is fully decentralized. So then it's, of course, it's complex. Role depose consensus will be in the test net for some time to make sure that everything is working, that the nodes are operating correctly. We also start with 200 to 300 nodes. That is way larger than even in the closest competitor, XLR, which is like 100 nodes only. All other solutions are proof of authority is okay, but they have like low amount of nodes. Like, for example, there was a famous hack, Ronin bridge hack, where consensus was broken and where around $600 million were lost just from the consensus hack. It's only 9 validators were there, 9. So they took control of 5 and they broke that consensus, and they attacked the consensus and the bridge itself. Basically, the smart contract in the chain in original chain can call for smart contract in another chain to act. So that's like, I understand that this is very technical, but this project is quite large. Yeah. So this, again, there's a data protocol side, the data exchange, and there is also a liquidity exchange. So in the long term, we can monetize both data protocol, and the closest competition there is, for example, XLR, it's Layer 0, it's Connext, the bridge, etc., etc. There are a lot of people working on that particular side.
But for example, I'm a user of Stargate at the moment, right?
Stargate is liquidity.
Yeah. So for example, I just want to split it for the viewers to easy understandable chunks. So for example, some of our viewers could be people who invest into crypto projects, and like myself, have to constantly move things from one network to another. So how they will benefit, let's say, once the project become live?
Yeah, I think that, like, with EYWA, they actually can benefit a lot, because first, one of the killer features I already mentioned, it is unified liquidity pools, so it's single pool of liquidity. And but second feature is that the gasless transactions. So you can pay when you transfer USDC from Binance to USDC, USDT or BUSD in Avalanche, you actually pay from the body of the transaction. Yes. You don't need BNB, you don't need AVAX, you don't need any other chain in between, like even like Pancake swap. Sometimes the swaps are happening on some other chains. You don't need all those native tokens. You can pay from the body of the transaction, or if you want, you can pay in EYWA token, or if you want, you can pay from the source chain token if you have them. So you will be given options what you can do. But for the simplicity, let's say I'm having some like USDC, I'm sending, I see how much what is the transaction will cost me. It will be deducted from my USDC. I don't need to go and buy the token. So simplicity is key.
So I think it will be simpler.
Yeah.
I think it will be cheaper.
Yeah.
And it will be faster.
Like it will not be faster than blockchains.
No, of course. What I'm just saying is, you see, sometimes when you transfer something from one chain to another, you need to wait for 10, 20 minutes for this thing to be confirmed.
You will still have to require the validation of the first chain, whatever that time it is. Then you're waiting for the validation on another chain, on the source chain, on the target chain. And then there is a process in between, obviously, that is happening on our hub chain that also will take time. So I wouldn't say that it is instant transfers, but you make sure that actually it will not happen that you send the money and then something has happened to your money and it's like locked in the system or whatever.
As I've seen several times happening with me with certain bridges, right?
Yes,
So
it is happening with certain bridges. We do not own the money. It's being locked, the liquidity that was spread around all the chains, locked, and when you are sending some liquidity on one chain, it is locked there, and then on other chain, it is unlocked, and you get your liquidity, or you get your stablecoin, or eventually you can get your asset to be connected. For developers, because this solution is also as B2B, what we offer is that you actually do not need to build your application several times on all the chains. You build it once in your chain that of your choice. You have your liquidity as well there, and then you can communicate with data protocol, this decentralized way. So you do not rely on any other solution, and also you can send liquidity also in a decentralized way to any other protocol, or receive like stable coins, or even if there is because we will have our own DEX, there will be also possibility to get our non-algorithmic stable coin, which will be represented and backed one-to-one by all stable coins in other chains. You can get that stable coin connected through our DEX with your own token. For you, for example, it can be said that we allow for cross-chain listing. So if your token is there connected to EUSD, which is a non-algorithmic stable coin of EYWA, you get access to liquidity of all other chains. So it's also a nice solution for B2B. And actually, because you're adding liquidity to EUSD, you also will be getting some rewards for that on the yield farming. So this is different topic how yield farming works, but you also...
And that's again, we'll have a list actually for yield farming so people can be able to click on it and watch it, right?
So that's, in short, I know it is sounds very complex, but it is just the way that we're trying to solve a lot of problems in the DeFi ecosystem now.
So let's just try now to map it to the real world, right? And correct me if I'm getting it wrong, right? So think about it, how much easier if you have US dollar, which is pretty much accepted in majority of the countries, right? So your stable coin, EUSD, could be equivalent to having like a reserve currency, right? And it will be possible if we to think about different blockchains, we can think about different countries. And then, so not just you have only like one bank account, which you can use in many countries. Think about something like you have credit card, right? You can use the same credit card in different countries and you will not be losing tons of money on conversion, right? But also think about, let's say, online banking. Once you develop online banking in one country and you have a data, the same online banking will be automatically working in other countries. That's probably the most simplistic way to present this project. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think
very simplifying, obviously.
Very simplifying, yes. So you can the way the EUSD travels between all blockchains. It's like your credit card travels between all blockchains, and you can get all your tokens, like the ones that are connected to our DEX. You can purchase it with that blockchains, or that can be connected through our other DEXs as well.
But also, let's say if some project has some token, so think about again, I'm mapping to real world. Let's say if you have shares of British Petroleum, your background of oilman, you list them on London Stock Exchange, then you need to, for American investors, you need to list it on New York Stock Exchange, American Depositary Receipt. But here, imagine realistically, when it works, once your DEX, which is effectively the decentralized exchange, with your DEX, once I list my token, I don't need to worry about investors on other exchanges or equivalent in the real world, let's say in other countries, right? So with one listing, I will have access to investors operating across all other blockchain.
Correct.
That will be supported, right?
That's what we are planning to do.
Perfect. And so we briefly talked about your stable coin. So just to confirm, effectively it will be collateralized, over collateralized.
It will be one-to-one with all the stable coins in the other blockchains, the most liquid ones.
Sure.
So for example, for some blockchains, the liquidity of their blockchain will allow only USDT and USDC to be part of the stable coin of that particular blockchain. In some other ones, it will be USDT, USDC, BUSD, and perhaps even DAI, because DAI is over collateralized stable coin. So we will not be including, and it was never in our scope to include any algorithmic stablecoin.
I think it's a good idea after what happened with UST and what's happening now with USDD, right?
Yes, we believe that it is best to work with stablecoins that are backed by something.
Yeah.
It means that you, as a stablecoin that is one-to-one connected to all of them, you can get some certainty about the stable coin that is there. Basically, that assures that EYWA is as reliable as the stable coins on the list.
Another thing you mentioned the hub chain. So at the moment it's the Harmony, right? Which is not the biggest chain in the world. Can you basically maybe elaborate how it was selected and?
Yeah, I mean, I think originally the way the EYWA engineers approached different chains, they've tested a few. So the Harmony was selected on the basis of being fast, low cost per transaction, and also reliable. There is not a lot of downtime on that, and also based on the fact that it has a good spare capacity on their shard for us to run on it. So the critical and most important part is that there are some technological elements, like for example supporting the verified random function, which is another term, but some technology of our technology requirements that it is actually supporting those smart contracts are supporting those. That is the true reason. Additionally, do we talk with all other blockchains that if we get enough support or if we get some additional incentives or maybe a better technology or better, overall better experience for the user, would we go there? Yes. For example, originally, because the Harmony is very small chain liquidity-wise, we wouldn't connect the liquidity protocol to it to start with. We will be connecting the highest on order the liquidity EVM chains first. But for the operations and transactions, we currently rely on Harmony. We have completed our alpha testing already. So there are a lot of projects that are on the idea stage, try to raise some money. We're in the middle of the private round and we already have completed alpha testing and we have tested a lot of components of our solution. And I will leave the pitch deck and all the details.
So I can link it in the description of the video. There will be a link to the pitch deck.
Yes, so and that's basically where all the details, latest details are. And what we also can say is that based on the solution that we're having, we're on the advanced stage of development, and we are planning to launch it within the next few months, perhaps end of summer or beginning of the autumn. So that's where we can launch with the liquidity protocol. We will be also we can launch first on the proof of authority while we're testing the role deposit consensus. Authority nodes will be held by our investors, by the blockchains itself, so very big institutions that will be holding those nodes for the decentralization. That is a standard approach that a lot of protocols are utilizing, and even now the giants like multi-chain, they're utilizing the proof of authority mechanism. There is like layer 0 relying on Chainlink for the data protocol, which is I would say our closest comparison to our data protocol would be XLR because it's decentralized, but also layer 0 because it is a data protocol in general. However, it is not decentralized because it relies on chain link to tell you that if this transaction has happened somewhere. So if that chain link node, that is a single node, is wrong, and something like it hacked or something like that, then there is a risk to the entire protocol. And the Stargate, it's equivalent to our liquidity protocol.
Yes.
So that's where, but it also doesn't solve a lot of issues. However, it is also an AMM protocol rather than direct bridge of multi-chain. Multi-chain is like a direct road, like one-to-one bridge, and it is connecting with a lot of blockchains and a lot of tokens. And Stargate operates on AMM principle, but on differently. We do. There is also the Tor chain, also liquidity.
Tor chain, I think, is now performance is not fantastic, right? Of the token, neither is, I think.
Yeah, and they do the transfer through their Rune token.
Yeah.
So you actually take a big risk on how Rune runs. Like, is it low? Is it high? If the spike has happened during the transaction, so there is risks over there as well. So it's also used to mainly connect the old cold chains like Bitcoin, Litecoin, like those guys. They have BNB and Ethereum, I think. However, in our case, we do it through our own stablecoin, which operates on a like more efficiently. Yeah, I mean, like none of the solutions that are current on the market, despite their being big and like multi-billion, they address all the elements.
I think you're resolving together pretty much majority of the problem of the current situation.
And we are at good progress stage. So we have like quite a lot of developers. I mean, it's 33 people team and really strong development team. 23 blockchain developers with 10, 15, sometimes 20 years experience in software development, and then in blockchain. So they are quite competent in solving complicated problems. And yeah, I mean, that's what we do, and anyone can basically investigate further. There are a few other YouTube videos from our CEO.
We will link it to this.
Subtitles, so everyone can actually get a little bit more information.
But can you just, to sum up, just two questions, final question. One question is like a timeline. So people like myself, the investors, traders, when we can benefit and we can start using technology, when developers can start playing, I think they already can start playing with your testnet, but when they can start actually building the projects on your platform. And so it's an executive summary of the timeline.
Yeah, I think from the developers' side, we're already speaking with few projects. So for example, XDAO, this is centralized. It is actually a DAO builder, multi-chain. It's on 22 chains, if I'm not mistaken. So utilizing our solution, they become a cross-chain solution. So the guys with Polygon wallets can vote in BNB-based DAO, for example. And there are projects like 1inch where we can create a cross-chain DEX aggregator, and then we can work with any other projects as well and integrate them on the point when we are actually coming live.
And when anyone who is interested to get in touch with you, they contact you, or who's the person of contact in the project? How does it work?
Yeah, or
they go to the website, or how?
Yeah, they can go to the website. They can, if it is investors or funds, they can contact me directly. So we take investments. We're currently raising money now. And we have raised 2.5 million out of around 6.5 million total private round. And timelines looks like we will be launching our DEX solution for 8 EVM chains, with Harmony being the hub chain on, as I said, in the beginning of autumn, end of summer time. So the TGE that we were ready for to generate our token and distribute it on the launch pads, and also we are talking with some few sexes to get listing on a few centralized exchanges. So that would be around also that time, because maybe earlier, depending on the market. So we were ready to do it end of May, beginning of June. Now the current condition actually negative, and that due to the market conditions, even the launch pads itself there and all other advisors that we're in touch with, and even layer ones are advising us just to postpone a little bit until this market at least stabilizes.
So basically, with the current conditions, I think you're trying to basically perfectly time going to both centralized exchanges and to launch pads to launch this project. Would that be correct?
With current conditions, it is risky to do so, and it is not recommended. So once the situation stabilizes, we will be looking into launching it on both launch pads and also on the centralized exchange. I think in general, we believe that once the solution is fully ready and we have all the development done, we will be actually launching the token if the environment in the market is good. So because we have quite large community in total, if we combine all the Telegram channels, it's around 300,000. So 53,000 people have completed all the requirements in our alpha testing, and this is quite a large community, and it's very active. And we have designed 53,000 NFTs just to send to this community with vested tokens inside. So that's a very so we are thinking about our community. They are waiting for the token. We try to make them happy and support our project in the future as well.
So basically, I think it's an interesting time for the investors now to do their own research on the project. I think it's a complex project, but I think it's a project with significant potential. If it will resolve even few of the issues that it's targeting to resolve, I think it will be one of the leading projects. I believe, in my humble opinion, it is very interesting for investors, for developers, for traders, for people who do arbitrage between different platforms, right? So I think it's really, really interesting project, and I hope that from time to time we can look at this project together and watch the progress.
Of course.
And maybe, as I said, maybe we can actually even think about creating some simplified cartoon for the people to understand it in a few seconds or couple of minutes, rather than. I think I think this project should be complex by solution, but should be very easy and simple for people to utilize.
It is done for simplicity. We want the guy with USDC in his wallet to buy any token of any assets.
Across all the platforms, across all the blockchains.
Across all blockchains. I mean, easy like that.
Yeah.
He will be able to select the way how he wants to pay for gas. And if he doesn't have any other tokens, he just came and bought some USDC from someone or put it in the wallet. He wants to buy this specific token. He doesn't need to go and learn how to exchange, how to get
open several wallets on Solana.
Open several wallets on different blockchains, get into centralized exchange to convert his USDC from being USDC in Polygon into USDC in Solana, and then try to find the Uniswap or whatever to get connected to that token and do that. We believe that it should be simple. And for the projects, they should not split their liquidity between 5 chains. They should not build the smart contracts on every chain. They should build it in one place, have it there, have liquidity there, and all the buyers, everyone from the other chains can use it. They can use the functionality of other blockchains by sending just a message to that smart contract and another chain to do that. And we do a lot of functionality. We will be working with a lot of players. We will be working with projects to integrate our solution into theirs. And that's how we plan to grow.
Fantastic. I wish you every success.
Thank you.
I'll really be watching this project. I suggest the viewers try to go on the website, look at the pitch deck that will be attached to, the link will be attached in the description of this video. And I really want to say thank you for Faraj for the explanations, and good luck and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.